Hey everyone, and welcome back to my YouTube channel, Vibe with Seth. Today we are diving into something super exciting, journaling. This video is a part of my Project 25 playlist where I try to become my best self by the time I turn 25. Okay, if you want to see what I'm exactly going to do on this project, you can check out the first video in my channel. There, I basically talk about all the items I want to do till I actually become an improved version of myself by the age of 25, which involves both my mental and my physical health. And one part of this mental health well-being is, of course, journaling, which I'm about to start seriously from now on. But before we jump in, I want to take a moment and just appreciate the rich history of journaling. Well, basically, the earliest documented journals were kept by Egyptians and Chinese who documented their daily lives, their thoughts, and their experiences. Since we're talking history, it would be better for me to read from my laptop than to mess everything up. As I heard in a very good podcast done by some of my Persian friends, a notable figure in the history of journaling is Marcus Aurelius. His work, which is called Meditations, is essentially a personal journal reflecting on his thoughts, philosophies, and the challenges he faced. It serves as a timeless example of how journaling can be a powerful tool for self-reflection and growth. As I can recall from that podcast, Aurelius's work was basically based on his personal experiences and the mentality of him throughout the day, throughout his life, and basically involved monologues to himself about the things that he did and the ways of improvement he suggested himself to do. And then, after I think he was dead, I'm not sure, people started to gather all these monologues and put it into a book. And it is basically a fabulous example of journaling back in the history. And of course, we know that over the centuries, journaling has evolved. Basically, from diaries of famous figures like Anne Frank and Leonardo da Vinci to modern day digital journaling apps, which we are basically using this day. Another thing I have to remind you before diving into journaling and how it is done is the fact that I'm not very good with books and paper, so I chose to watch videos from the experts and people who journal on YouTube and find the methods that actually work for me and talk about them today in this video. I'm going to link their channels in the description of this video, and of course I'm going to mention their names throughout the video as I talk about different methods and tips of journaling. First off, let's talk about mental health. An important reminder is that mental health is not something that you basically have. It's something that you have to practice every day. And journaling as a fantastic way to engage with your thoughts and your feelings would be one of the best ways for you to get into practicing mental health. The other reminder, and even more important than that, is that if you're struggling with mental issues, you have to make sure to seek professional help, because journaling cannot be a substitute for professional advice, and you have to bear that in your mind. Of course, these two reminders and the first methods that I'm going to talk about in this video are inspired by Anna Juma, which is an expert in journaling, and you can check out her channel for more information. I basically watched a video of her teaching how to start journaling, and that was pretty helpful for me because it's coming from a person who had never done journaling, only I think bullet journaling and listing that we are all familiar with, but getting deep with my emotions and thoughts, never. And Anna's video was a very great help for me. In her video, Anna talked about 3 techniques of journaling, which I found 2 of them more practical for me personally, so I'm going to mention them and talk about them in this video with you. The first one is, I have to check out my laptop again, I'm sorry. The first one is clustering, or in business terms, we basically call that mind mapping. Or another basic definition for that would be basically brainstorming on a piece of paper, which starts by you writing the most important and the keyword in a circle in the middle of your paper, like starting with today, and then start to expand that diagram to talk about today, for example. This way, by mentioning the keyword and starting to branch everything out of this keyword and even have more branches out of those second branches, you would have a visual map of what's going on your mind. But the important tip is that it doesn't stop here. You don't have to just draw a chart and leave it to it. You have to start reflecting on your chart. So this reflection can be done by writing a simple short paragraph, starting with phrases and sentences like "I'm aware of," which are basically the things that you knew when you brought on the piece of paper, or even "I am surprised by," which is very surprising and great and exciting, I think, about journaling, because that is when you can actually reach those parts of your brain that you didn't even know existed. The second technique that Anna mentioned, and I find it quite practical for me, is positive affect journaling. This method is mostly emotion based and focuses on writing about your positive experiences and emotions throughout the day. But why is it exciting to me? The thing is that Anna explained that our brains are by default designed to fixate on negativity. And using this method, you can basically try to avoid that negative bias and kind of rewire your brain to think positively. That is pretty exciting. You're manipulating stuff in your brain to feel better. And I'm really happy to have that power in my hands. But how to write in this method? You can start by asking some questions from yourself. What am I thankful for? Or what was the best moment of my day? What was one act of kindness that I witnessed today towards me, especially, and how did it make me feel? This would be basically a gratitude journal that Hugh Grant was completely against.
Do you have a gratitude journal?
Don't be absurd. I have a list of things I hate.
But I think that would be perfect for people like me who always focus and fixate on negativity, especially during some special parts of the month while I'm PMSing or my hormones aren't harmoning. I really need to be positive, and I think writing would force me to actually do that. It wouldn't be that, fun and cliche for me to just think, to just sit and think positive. I want to start to write about positive stuff that happened to me every day. And to be frank, my life, with all the difficulties inside, still involves some positivities each day. And even someone saying hi to me in the morning, or the fact that I had a great lunch, would still be the information that go into this journal and would make me happy later by reading them. The other channel that I used for today's video is Nay's Laugh. She is a perfect person in a cozy room sitting and talking about journaling and her experiences. Nay also mentioned some other techniques, some similar to what Anna said, and some new techniques that she listed. I'm going to talk about, again, some of them that I found practical to me, but of course you can find more about all these techniques by watching the videos of these great people that I mentioned today. The first method that I find quite handy for me that Nay mentioned was brain dumping. This is perfect. This is going to be perfect for me because I'm always fixating on being perfect. I've always imagined my journal to be this perfect notebook, me with the most perfect and exquisite handwriting, the most elegant graphics around. I always think and consider this very excruciating fact that how would people react if they read my journal one day? And that is the most ridiculous thing, because why would people want to read my journal? Why would I even allow them?
Oh, okay.
And this way, knowing that this is actually a very accepted way of journaling, I was relieved to know that I can write whatever the hell that comes to my head on a piece of paper. No matter what it is, no matter how ugly it is, it's just me dumping whatever is going inside here on a piece of paper to reach the calm and peace I always am seeking. I've even made a journal for that. It's a handmade journal that is not perfect at all, and I even sewed it on myself, but that gives me the best feeling that these pages, these imperfect pages, are going to be for my brain dump and the next method that I'm going to mention. This is basically that handmade journal that I sewed it on myself, and it is made out of torn pages. You can see the edges are not perfect. I just tore them. I wasn't picky about the pages. I used these papers that their quality wasn't the finest, but that gave me a great feeling to just make it and know that it's going to help my mental health, and it's not about perfection. It's about the consistency that I have. I think you heard me mentioning morning pages. Basically, morning pages were mentioned by two people that I've watched the videos of. One of them was Nay, and one other person that mentioned this was Matt Regland, which I'm going to get into his works and his interesting methods of journaling later. Basically, morning pages are, I think, another brain dump method and technique. According to Nay, you can start by writing 3 pages of whatever comes to your head and your mind every morning before you start your day. And I've heard it actually before in the movie Sixth Sense, but I don't remember the exact name the therapist gave to that. But that was perfect. He said that you can write whatever comes to your head, even if nothing is coming to your head, you have to write it down that nothing is coming to my head. If you're bored by this fact, you have to write that I'm feeling bored by the fact that nothing is coming to my head. And by the way, I think you don't have to restrict yourself to just, write 3 pages. Whatever is suitable for you, you can write more, even less. It really depends on the amount of time and effort that you want to dedicate to this technique, but however you do it and whatever you do would be counted very, very valuable. The other method that I'm sure we all did it at least once in our life is bullet journaling or listing or making a to-do list, basically. That would be a great, I think, method for you after doing and writing your morning pages. You can do this and basically write whatever task you have to do that day. That would be, I guess, another way of brain dumping, but in a more organized way. And I don't know about you, but I did it for a couple of months before, for 5 months, and it really gave me the great feeling to cross out those tasks at the end of the night, and yeah, it gave me a more clear image of what was ahead of me that day. And the last method, but not the least, that was mentioned by Matt Regland is logging. Logging is, I think, another version of morning pages, but you have to do it at the end of your day. You have to talk about your day and how it went. It basically is describing your experiences throughout the day, no matter how positive or negative they were. You just want to provide relief to your brain at the end of the day, and you want to have a better sleep, I guess, after this. So my view on all these methods is like this. You can start your day by writing your morning pages and then your to-do list, and doing the bullet journaling, but you can also do the clustering early in the morning. Even you can, I think, replace morning pages with clustering or vice versa. That would be still helpful because all you want to do is to get rid of all those torn up stuff in your head and kind of bring them out in a more manageable way. It depends on your plan, on your day. Some days morning pages would be awesome, some days clustering. I think the days that you have to run too many errands, clustering would be perfect for you. And then you keep on with your day, and at the end of the day, you can do the logging, you can do the positive effect journaling, and this way you can sum up what happened to you throughout your day and how you feel about it. Okay, when am I going to start journaling? That's a pretty good question. I haven't seriously started it yet. I've done some stuff leading to it, but not seriously starting to write my morning pages or doing the positive effect journaling. But I'm committed to doing it in this last month leading to my birthday. Another personal fact that I want to share with you about why haven't I started journaling sooner is that I happen to see many ways of graphical journaling in Pinterest, of these great and beautiful and colorful trackers, and I was always intimidated by those ways of journaling because they were done in such perfect ways, and I was always thinking that I can never do that, I can never be that perfect, I can never find the perfect graphic to do this. But the thing that I realized after watching these videos and listening to a couple of podcasts is that journaling is not about aesthetics. It's about monitoring your thoughts and your feelings. But still, having those trackers always made me feel like I have my whole day in control, and I can really reflect on what is going on with me on a daily, weekly, monthly, or even an annual basis. So I designed a calendar for myself. I'm going to share with you the process of making it. I designed the calendar, and each month has a bar that is divided into 30 or 31 pieces. It's based on the Persian calendar, and I dedicated a color to each mood, like happy and creative, chill, angry and anxious, and not feeling great or creative. So 4 moods, and based on the mood that I experienced that day, I color each day. I can do that positive effect journaling monthly and reflect on what had happened to me during the month. And I can even take notes of the reason I was angry that day, I was anxious that day, and that would help me reduce those triggers each month to feel better. And then after each month is over, I'm going to cut those and stick them into my beautiful journal. This is one of the most beautiful journals I've seen in the bookshop, and this involves actually posters and paintings done by a great artist, and this costed me, I think, a fortune, but that was worth it. So I'm doing my tracking and stuff like that in this journal. I've mentioned my mood tracker. I also designed the sleep tracker because that is what I'm seriously struggling with, and I've been doing it for 20 something days, and I realized that my sleeping schedule is really messed up and I have to really fix it. It's really messed up. I don't want to get into it, but I knew it, but I didn't realize how messed up it was actually. And I also designed a workout tracker for myself, which involves walking, doing HIIT workouts, if I'm right about them, and doing leg workouts and arm workouts. Each, again, are shown with a specific color. Another thing that I'm considering is actually tracking down my screen time, but that seems quite intimidating to me, so I'm going to actually put that into action for Project 26, maybe, if there's going to be one. But I think that would be a perfect thing for you if you want to start tracking different elements and aspects of your life. Tracking your screen time would be perfect for you too. Okay, to sum up on what I talked about in this video, I should say that journaling is basically a practice for self-directed growth, and it bridges the gap between your self-awareness and actions. This is basically the perfect way for you to put all you got about yourself and how aware you got about yourself into actions. That is the perfect way of reaching mental health, I think. As Caitlin Adam, one of Anna Juma's professors, said, journaling is the perfect way to bring all the information, feelings, and emotions from both the unconscious and conscious levels of our mind to the conscious level, and we start to feel all of them together, and that is when we can say we reached mental health. And last but not least, please let me know what your favorite journaling methods are. from this video, from the ones that you have done before or you are currently doing. I would be more than happy to know some new methods that were practical for you. They could help me, of course, and help us all together to reach the mental health we all deserve. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more content. Until next time, happy journaling!